Hello, everybody. Sorry, my camera is up here. I have it on my tripod instead of on my laptop because I'm kind of tired of the glare being in my glasses. But as you can tell, that doesn't really matter because you can see a big ass glare right in my glasses. Um, anyways, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. This is my, I guess you could say, new season of it was movie Chattaway Live. I've actually just changed it to Chattaway Live just so I could talk about really anything I want, and it's actually going to be different. It's not going to go on forever. It's just going to last for about 5 or 6 episodes, consecutive weeks, and then I'm going to take a break for a while just so I don't burn myself out. But yeah, I got my good friend Luke here from Razor Raw Reviews. How you doing, Luke?
Hey, not too bad, man. Good to be on Chattaway Live.
Yeah, chat away, chat away. I actually just ran into somebody recently at because back in high school everybody called me Chattaway. They didn't even. In fact, I was called Chattaway so much and for so long that I actually had a girl in 8th grade ask me, "Hey, Chattaway, what's your first or your last name?" And I was like, "You're an idiot." But yeah, and I actually ran into somebody recently from high school, and I'm at a restaurant, and I just hear Chattaway, Chattaway, and I was like, "What the hell?" Yeah, so I don't know why I said that, but yeah. So today we were just going to talk about a bunch of random things. It's not going to go on too long. I don't want to make it last for 3 hours because it's just not how I want to do things. So first, what I wanted to kind of talk about with everybody before me and Luke kind of get into the discussion is why. Actually, let me tell you. Before, you might remember me mentioning that I pre-ordered Halloween box set. Well, I pre-ordered it, and I kind of think I kind of jumped the gun to pre-ordering, and I pressed pre-order, and I was like, okay, now I'm just gonna save up enough money to where I could buy it by the time it charges my account. Um, well, when then they released what the box set included, and Halloween is one of my top 10 favorite films. Halloween 1 and 2 are like my favorite movies to watch during Halloween, and I love them so much. And I really like the series. I like Michael Myers. He's my favorite villain. But really, the film's quality after Halloween 3, I would say, really goes down. And I'm not really a big fan of 4 and 5. I really will just watch it if I'm having like a marathon. And those are the only ones that I do not have. I don't have Halloween 1, or no, I don't have Halloween 4, 5, and of course I don't have the producer's cut of Halloween 6 on Blu-ray, and I don't have Halloween Resurrection, which I hate anyways. So, and I'm never gonna watch that movie again anyways. So I started thinking, I was like, you know what? I already have in my opinion, my favorite editions of Halloween. I have the Halloween, this one's already out of print. This, cover. I have the Anchor Bay, anniversary edition. People don't really like the slip cover or the fact, or not the slip cover that the DVD just slips in there. I don't care. I still think it's a great, I love the artwork that I think Mondo did, the company Mondo. And so, I mean, I like that. That's my Blu-ray. And also, I just recently, finally, after having the DVD edition of this, I finally got the Halloween 2 Scream Factory set. So basically, and these basically get carried over to the new set with like a couple new special features. So to me, as long as I have these two, and then whatever other Halloweens I like on DVD, I'm fine. Because I know probably eventually they'll release the producer's cut of Halloween 6 on, Blu-ray separately anyways. But even then, I wasn't really crazy about Halloween 6. It was alright. I mean, it was fun. But I really want to spend $130-something just to upgrade and get the producer's cut of a movie that I didn't really think was all that amazing to begin with, even if it improves it. So I just started thinking about that, and because of that, I was able to buy a lot more stuff for my birthday. So I wanted to go ahead and clear that up, because I know some people were expecting me to make a video on it, and they never saw the video about it. And now that I hear about all these things about certain defects of the discs and all that stuff, I'm really just kind of glad I didn't go into it, especially since I already have the definitive editions of the ones that I really want, anyways. Um, and in some ways, I actually like to watch Halloween 1, 2, and Halloween H2O. I kind of consider them like a trilogy, and I don't really care for the whole storyline that starts in Halloween 4. So, anyways, there's my little Halloween, um, you know, talk, I could say. And yeah, so recently, well, not recently, I would say, Luke, how long ago was it that we embarked on our Fritz Lang, heavy interest into the whole Fritz Lang catalog?
Well, I think it was probably when I first watched Metropolis late last year, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And and then I just started looking up his filmography, and I was like, wow, I got to check this out. So I think beginning of this year, something like that.
Yeah, and like what happened was is that Luke, I had already seen Metropolis years ago. I loved it, and then I got this might be a great time to show off the Metropolis um, that we both own. So Luke, if you want to grab yours too,
Yeah.
um, I have the complete Metropolis version of it, and Luke will show you his whenever I ask him about his like thoughts on the film. But basically, what happened was I had already seen this and I had already mentioned it before, and he eventually saw it, and then he looked at the filmography and was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna marathon a bunch of Lang films," because he wanted to get further in depth, I guess, with silent films, and he had already gotten into like Buster Keaton and stuff, and so he wanted to revisit some the epic Fritz Lang films. And so then he started texting me about his, experiences with him. All right, well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and dive right in because, I mean, up until then, I had only seen Metropolis and M, which are two masterpieces. But now that I've actually seen some of these other ones, I'm just like, wow, he didn't just have two pieces. He had some other great epic movies. So what did you think of Metropolis when you first saw it?
Well, I got the UK massive cinema version here, which is the same cut as the one on the one you have, a restored 150-minute edition. And yeah, I just thought it was amazing, like the special effects, obviously all practical, and like just some of the crazy things he was able to pull off in the camera, but also the story I really connected with and thought was great, and the music as well. It's the original score, and so it just sounds and looks amazing, and that just added to the whole thing. Watching it on Blu-ray, it's just one of the best films I've ever seen. Like, if you talk about the greatest films ever made, that is on that list. I mean, you can say, oh, my top 10 favorite films might be completely different, but if I was going to put up a top 10 greatest films of all time, I think that would be on there. It's just a masterpiece.
And the practical effects in the movie are just like they just blow you away. They're like, especially it's like some of the city, like when it shows like the entire city of, like entire city of Metropolis. It's just like, damn, like it's just some freak. Like you see like a plane flying, and I don't know, just some of the practical effects. I mean, some people might look at it and be like, man, that movie's, of course that's so fake. Well, I mean, yeah, it's fake, but there's actually like I don't know, there's a certain quality to the practical effects of the movie that actually make it more magical and more like awesome to look at than if it actually was real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
like, I mean, you went to New York, so you stood on top of the Empire State Building. I've been to New York. I was on the Empire State Building. I stood on the World Trade Center towers before 2001, and we've seen, you know, cities from a high point, and we've looked down and we've seen how awesome it looks. But like, there's something about like Metropolis about doing that same kind of thing, but since it's fake, it's practical effects instead of like a real shot. It actually, I don't know. There's something more to me. There's something more magical about it. So
Well, you can clearly see that, like, the cars and stuff that move around the city are like, model cars and stuff like that. But just the scope of it, because of how big it is, it kind of negates the fact that you're looking at a model. It's just so impressive, even though it is, just a miniature, but it just looks incredible.
yeah, I really would love to have seen like. Have you seen any like footage or any pictures of that set?
I've seen
'Cause
pictures, not footage.
because I know some of it. I mean, a lot of it is like just it's not actually like a set, like all of it, right? Didn't they like impose pictures and stuff like that over it, like paintings and everything?
Probably, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. But yeah. So Metropolis, we both liked a lot. We both loved a lot. Um, Now the next one that I want to talk about is one that really I never even heard of until Luke sent me a message one day and he was like, I really want to get into, I really want to see this Fritz Lang epic. And I remember when you first mentioned it, what really hooked me was when you mentioned how long it was, and I was like, man, an epic length silent film that's like a fantasy kind of film, and it ended up being how long is this? Well, real quick, I'm talking about Die Nibelungen. That's how you pronounce it, right? D.
Yes, D. Yeah.
Yeah, Die Nibelungen. And um, the first part of it's 150 minutes basically, and the second part is 130 minutes. So do the math, and that's how long the film is. And I remember seeing the cover, and I was like, wow, I was like, a fantasy movie, film, silent film with a dragon? And then like I started reading about it and how it actually had to do with an actual I guess a German like a poem, like an ancient poem, fairy tale. Like it's a really popular German fairy tale, and basically, I think I saw the film first. I think you were watching like one of his other films at the time, and
Yeah, you saw it first.
I saw this one first. And basically, the first part of the film is like an adventure, and then the second part is almost kind of like a revenge kind of tale. I don't want to give any more of that the plot away because it'll really not ruin, but it'll take away from the viewing. And I remember I was just like hooked from beginning to end. It was just like an amazing tale, and the effects back then were crazy, awesome. And I actually just got this edition for my birthday and looked at the documentary that's on. I know you have that documentary too.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on this film?
Yeah, well, again, I've got the massive cinema version on Blu-ray, and that's how I watched it for the first time. And I was just blown away again. I wanted to watch it all in one day. It was just, I don't know, it just seemed like a cool thing to try and do. And while I took a break between the two parts of the film, I did watch it in one day, and it was just a great experience. Like, when it was over, I was just like, wow. It's just one of those films. And it's one I've never heard of before, really, until I started looking into Fritz Lang's filmography. I mean, Metropolis I've heard of since I was a kid. That's one of those famous films. But this one was a few years before Metropolis and is arguably just as big in scope, if not bigger, if you look at all the different locations in the film. It's not just a city. Well, there isn't a city, but you know what I mean. Metropolis is all in one city. This is like a sprawling saga across forests and different countries, across the seas and castles, and it's just amazing. It really is. The scope of it and how much money must have gone into it is kind of crazy, but I'm glad that it did and that he pulled off such an epic film.
Yeah, and what was the other I was trying to think like, oh, I'm just having a complete blank. But anyways, guys, if you have not seen this film and you really just want to see an epic length fantasy revenge story, and that's another thing this movie covers. It covers like you feel adventure, you feel sadness, you feel angry, it really covers all emotions. It's just really like, I mean, it's definitely groundbreaking in terms of
Yeah.
just everything it covers. And I just realized on the back it's actually a passionate retelling of a Nordic legend. I just wanted to make sure I got the source for what it was inspired by right. But so that's this. All right, so next I'm gonna let you. Okay, yeah.
Just one more thing. It's a hard film to sell, to kind of tell people to recommend it because it is so long, and again, it's a silent film. But one thing I can say is that it's definitely reminiscent of Lord of the Rings in a way, and also in the second film, even a bit in the first film, kind of Game of Thrones. Like the plotting and kind of the that kind of side of it, the human drama within the whole kind of medieval kind of setting. It definitely reminded me of Game of Thrones at times and Lord of the Rings. But yeah, just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that too, because I mean it really does start out like Lord of the Rings, and it's like if Frodo got to Mount Doom and then it turned into an episode of Game of Thrones. Like it's just like really the two halves of the film. I mean it's two films, but it's considered one. They're really different in how they're just one's basically an adventure and one of them's like more of a human drama and gets really dark. And I don't know, it's just amazing. And the next one that I'm going to talk about is actually one that I just finished watching a couple days ago, and they don't have the Blu-ray here in the States yet, but you have the Blu-ray of it, and that is Fritz Lang's Doctor. Is it Mabusa?
Yeah, Mabusa.
Yeah, Dr. Mabusa the Gambler. This is another one that Luke watched as I was pretty much watching Die Nibelungen, and he kept talking about it. Like during he was watching, I was like, man, this sounds such an amazing movie, because basically it's about a guy who's just kind of a trickster. He's a manipulator, and he's basically out to just make this guy's life living hell. But it's really not just about the drama of that. It's really seeing what he goes to and like the amount of characters that he plays. He's a master of disguise, and there's times when you're actually looking at the movie and you're like, wait, is that guys? And then you're like, oh wait, that is him, and he looks completely different. And it's really an amazing movie, and I cannot wait until they release it on Blu-ray, because even though it's a heavily restored picture, going from a silent film on Blu-ray in HD and then going to one that's restored that's not in high definition, really kind of, you could tell the difference. It's crystal clear, but you could definitely from being, told in HD. So if you want, go ahead and talk about your story with the movie and your opinions on it.
Yeah, again, I was kind of like you were saying about Die Nibelungen. It was kind of a film that was like, wow, it's a like nearly 5 hour long film and it's silent, but Fritz Lang made it, so it's got to be interesting. So I got the Steelbook version from Massive Cinema. Again, they release all these films, and I love the Steelbook as well. Just it's the same book as the one on your DVD, but just kind of a different color tone, and it really just caught my eye, and I wanted to check it out, so I did. I didn't do it in one day like I would have liked, but I did do it over 2 days. And how'd you do it, by the way? Did you watch it over 2 days, or?
I watched it over 2 days because I actually.
It's a lot to get through.
Yeah, I think I would have watched the second part of it. I had something I had to do, but the thing is, like the first part of it it ended just perfect, and the way it ended was perfect, and I was just like, man, I really want to continue it. And I couldn't until like the following day, but yeah, it was just amazing.
Yeah, I was just caught in by the first shot where you see Mabusa just sitting down with like a pack of cards, and on every card is a picture of him in one of his various disguises, and he's literally just shuffling through them to see who he's going to be that day. And through all of those cards, you see every kind of guise that he takes on throughout the film. And again, the special effects are amazing. It's a crime film, but there's a lot of special effects, which again I don't want to spoil anything, but there's just really unique ways of filming, and again you just see even back in 1922 Fritz Lang had such an eye for visual storytelling, and prime example of it. I'd say it's not as kind of 10 out of 10 masterpiece as Die Nibelungen or Metropolis or M, but it's quite close. It's like 9.5 out of 10 for me, and the guy who plays Mabusa is in Metropolis as well. He's in a lot of Fritz Lang films. He's actually in Die Nibelungen as well. And he's just fantastic as the main character, and again, in all the different disguises and his facial expressions, and yeah, he's just awesome. Great film.
And since I don't own it, and I actually haven't seen the next Dr. Mabusa film, because I know you have it, right?
Yep.
So if you want, you can go ahead and start talking about that.
Okay, very briefly, this was Fritz Lang's second sound film in 1993, The Testament of Dr. Mabusa. Try not to get some glare from yeah, it's a really cool steelbook.
Yeah.
and it's a completely different film. Well, not completely different, but it's more again a crime film, but it's a lot more focused because it's like an hour and it's in 2 hours actually, yeah, 2 hours long. And I feel like it's a much better film because of that. I mean, it's great to have the epic 5 hour, I mean, the first Mabusa film is kind of like a serial. It's split up into loads of acts, but
Yeah.
it's just put into one big film. But this one is much more like a 2 hour film, and it was the first Fritz Lang sound film I'd seen, and it was just like, oh wow, this is what the guy does with sound. It just opens up whole new kind of realm of possibilities, just the way he plays with sound and great character in the film as well. You've seen M, obviously,
Yeah.
and Inspector Lowman from M is also
Hmm.
in the Testament of Dr. Moose, played by the same actor as well. So it's like a kind of nice, kind of almost semi-sequel kind of spin-off thing going there, but it's a fantastic film, and the role of Mabusa is a lot different than in the first film. Won't give anything away, but it's the same guy from the first film, and he's in it. And yeah, it's just a very different film, very cool, and probably better than the first one as well, I think.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. I gotta I gotta get I have the Criterion DVD in my wish list. That's another film they haven't released yet um, on Blu-ray here. But since you already brought it up, the unfortunately, or not unfortunately, M is the first Fritz Lang film I ever saw, and I loved it. I mean, it's definitely the beginning, I think, of like psychological crime thrillers that have like a kind of a social commentary and maybe even a little bit of satire thrown in there as well, like in certain aspects of it. But I have the 2 disc Criterion edition. I don't have the Blu-ray yet. I definitely will one. Um, but this film is just spectacular. I remember it was actually, I think, the first German film I had seen, like, of Fritz Lang's. I mean, I think I had seen some German films, later, but this is the first one during this time period that I ever saw. And I thought the everything from all the camera angles, cinematography, everything was awesome. The way he shot the film, and this was before I was a big Fritz Lang fan, so like I was really kind of blown away with certain aspects of this film. And basically, I mean, even like that insert right there shows like one of the scenes where some of the character. I mean, just the frame, like the framing of that shot is just amazing with the shadows. But for those of you who don't know, this movie is basically about some, I guess you could say a okay. So well, I mean, let me check real quick. Okay, yeah, he is a serial killer. I wanted to make sure I got the if and I completely forgot like what exact. I didn't want to say he wasn't a serial killer and say he was like a pedophile or something like that, because I'm sure if that movie was made now, they would probably include some
Yeah,
aspects of that, because really anybody who does that kind of stuff to kids, like they have to have that kind of some sort of um, you know some of that pedophile stuff in their brain, which is extremely disturbing.
yeah,
Because I mean, if it's just so basically you have the character who, well, actually, you don't really see this character for like most of the movie, or like the first half of the movie. This girl's just like missing, and then the serial killer is like introduced, and it's just really, it tells you the perspective that this crime has on this town. And in a way, now that I think about it, because I was just actually watching some special features, the movie Prisoners. It's actually, if you think about it, in my opinion, Prisoners has a lot of similarities with this film in terms of how it's. I don't know. Maybe that's just a long shot, but I think that some of the way the story's told and how you don't really know certain things, and I think that has to do with the fact that this was like one of the first psychological, mystery thriller type movies. But don't you have the Blu-ray of this?
yep.
Awesome. Give your thoughts on the movie. And I know you have a Criterion Blu-ray of it, right? Back in Wales.
Yeah, this is the UK Massive Cinema release. I also had the Criterion, which I got a few years ago, and I'm kicking myself for never having watched it. I got it because I knew it was a classic, but I just never kind of felt like watching it, and yeah. But I watched it a few months ago, Another masterpiece from Fritz Lang. What can you say? It's just amazing. And this is his first sound film, and just the way he plays with sound. Like there's a little tiny scene where there's an old man in this. I don't know where he is, but like he can hear this music outside, and he goes like this. And when he puts his hand over his ears, for us, the audience, the music stops too. So he didn't just go, okay, I'm going to put sound in the film. He played around with the sound, and there's bits where there's quite, there's silence, and then it kind of builds into the tension. And I just love the way he makes films. It's incredible. I think what you were trying to kind of say was that the main character or the murderer is a child killer, but it's not really the sexual side of that is not really in the film at all. It's not really a pedophile character, or I guess technically it might be, but it's mainly just the fact that he kills children, and that's the main part of the story, and how the whole city is kind of up in arms about it. Like I love that aspect where like the police are trying to figure out what to do. And then you have like the other people trying to figure out what to do, and then you have like the public who are like, this is crazy. We got to, something's got to be done about this, child killer. And
yeah, and then
just
like the criminal underworld is like, we didn't do it, and so it's
yeah. And one of my favorite parts of the film relates to this image here, which I won't say what it is, but just a great visual part of the film that works really well. And Peter Lorre is fantastic as the killer. Just a great performance, and yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I think my cover gives away more what it is than
what
the M means in your. I'm like, wow, they put it right on the front. But then again, if you don't really know, even just by looking at it, you don't really know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't. But do you have any more Fritz Lang Blu-rays that I just never knew?
No, I do have the a review Blu-ray for another massive cinema one. It's Frau Monde, but I haven't bought it yet, so I definitely want to get that soon. And then in November, Massive Cinema are releasing Spies, which is from 1928 or something like that.
Yeah, I want to get the Blu-ray of that whenever it comes out.
Yeah, once they release that, then they've released every film he's done from 22 to 33, which is pretty cool. But yeah.
What about, is it Spiders? Is that the name of the movie?
No, he made a film, I think, in the 1910s that had Spider or something in the title, but no, Spion is Spies. It's just a film about spies, espionage thriller.
Yeah, because I've seen that one, but then I've seen the other one, like Spider or Spiders or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's more like, yeah, that's another kind of crime film, but like Dr. Mabusa, apparently.
Yeah.
Earlier.
And I guess we're going to go ahead and close out with that part of the live stream. But real quick, I kind of wanted to, well, there's two more things, but one thing real quick. For my birthday, I picked up one of my favorite, did you just drop something when I wasn't looking?
Huh? No.
Oh, okay. I picked up the Chinatown Steelbook for my birthday, or like with some birthday money and some trade-in money from Movie Stop, and I mean, I love the film. It's one of my favorite movies. It's definitely one of my favorite '70s films, and it's basically my favorite noir type film. And so, and it's also, of course, my favorite Jack Nicholson film other than Batman, because I love Jack Nicholson. And I don't know. Actually, it's pretty much a tie between this film and The Shining, of which one of Jack Nicholson's films I like the most. But this film, of course, always had beautiful cinematography, beautiful artwork, and I was actually kind of disappointed because I guess this was one of the Blu-rays that they mass-produced recently when they have all the steelbooks at like Walmart and stuff, and unfortunately, there's no artwork inside of this. But it's all right because it's still like a great edition of a great film. Has like cinematography or not cinematography, commentary by Robert Towne, the screenwriter, and David Fincher, which is pretty cool, and some other special features. But the reason why I bring this up is because this film has always had one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful film posters. This is the DVD. I love this this shot. I really want to get this poster like framed one day and ordered. But one thing that kind of bugs me about some films that get transferred to Blu-ray is that I think this cover would have been so much better on a steelbook, and instead they decided to put, you know, the real shots of the characters on there. I mean, it still looks pretty cool, but I don't know. I think when you think about it, like her being kind of in the clouds almost, and him, you know, the smoke just kind of drifting up, and then you have the wave down at the bottom of the DVD, one that's like really artistic looking. I mean, it's just really awesome artwork. And then here they just have a drop of water, and it's just kind of, they take it really, I don't know. I'm just probably complaining about something stupid, but I really wish this artwork was on this Blu-ray, and they've been doing that to a lot of films. I know they did it to The Conversation as well. It's over here somewhere. They did it to The Conversation, where it's just like they took the real shot and put it on the cover of the Blu-ray. And I even think edition of DVD, when there's so many awesome like posters that they could use for these, and I don't know, it just kind of bugs me. But I guess what I'm really trying to get at is kind of like what I'm getting ready to show off here, and this is one thing I want to show off here is like got a little bit late because of the fact that it was one of the limited releases, and it is the Godzilla Metal Pack. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to covers. I mean, it's not the original film poster, but they didn't just put a generic poster of, you know, Bryan Cranston's face up in the corner, and then like, you know, Godzilla there, and you know, like it's actually some artwork. And what I love about this too is that it's lifted, and of course you press the button. Let me bring it closer to my mic. And it makes an awesome noise. And so this is how you do artwork. I mean, this is just epic. But the complaint I have is the fact that most everybody has the complaints about metal packs. I really wish Steelbook would have picked this up, but I can't stand the fact, I don't like metal pack spines.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, they're a lot uglier than Steelbook spines. But really, what kind of annoyed me, which I'm not the only one, this is still the preferred version. I'm glad I have this. This is amazing. But I actually, here is the inside. I love this part. And here is the Blu-ray. Now, there's actually a DVD that goes with this too, and it was on like one of the, I guess, whatever they call it, the things that you put the DVD in and it flaps over or whatever. I always forget what they're called. But that came already. And I looked on the website for Metal Pack, and apparently most of them were broken by the time they got to the doors of everybody. And I don't know if they have any plans of reimbursing people or redoing it. And so I've actually seen a few videos of people that have already mentioned it. Just took out the flap, put it on the DVD in it, and then I actually put it in one of my other Godzilla cases just to kind of have up there. And I just made it easier for me. Dang, I really hope I didn't show my digital copy code on this, but whatever.
The quality doesn't look good enough for people to see.
Yeah. But I think it makes up for everything in the packaging. Like, that's when you line it up. I mean, that's just a pretty sweet thing. But the spine sucks, and the fact that it came with really cheap, like, an insert here. But other than that, I really love this edition. But it is kind of a letdown that, you know, I thought Metal Pack, I always knew that they were kind of the, you know, everybody kind of crapped on Metal Packs compared to Steelbooks. And, well, certain situations with their quality, they don't really help themselves because of the fact that you can't ship out stuff that's broken. If people are going to spend $30 on something, and now this is up to like 40 or 50 because it's limited, if people are going to spend that amount of money on something, you got to make sure the quality is good. So shame on you, Metal Pack. And also, a lot of people complain about this too. It's like it's actually not even lined up right, which really bugs me too. I'm gonna bring it up close. As you can see, it's uneven. But I'm not gonna be one of those people and point out every little thing about this that bugs me. But
You just did.
yeah, I know. But it makes up for it by the fact that it's a brilliant film, and I could just do that and actually feel happy. And I mean, what do you think, buddy? I guess he's fine with it too. All right, Ryan, you're getting really weird. All right, I guess that's it for the live stream. As always, this is sponsored by Geeky.com. Thank you for those of you who joined in the Geeky chat, and thank you very much for joining me on the live stream. And I will see you this time. Well, maybe this time, maybe a little bit later next week. And next week we're going to be talking about Barney's Great Adventure. So
Can't wait.
Thank you very much, Luke, for joining me.
No problem.
And of course, you're welcome on my channel anytime. Anytime.
Cool.
So thank you guys for watching, and have, as my friend Chill Pilgrim would say, have a chill-tastic day.